Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. I'm just chilling at the lake, wishing you all a happy festive season and hoping that by recording this in landscape, you'll get it in landscape. And just a chance to talk about the whole intelligent creation that we find ourselves among on this flat earth. Personally, I'm going to push forward with trying to help detach from the globe earth belief and see things the way they really are. It's understandable that it's difficult. I don't really feel any hate towards the haters, and I'm sure I speak for many of us out there that are doing these. We just keep on trying to create the awareness of the big lie that we've all been brought up to believe in. Well, if we're from the West anyway, and how how we've been deceived. But that isn't, to pass any blame. No need to be angry at anyone, because it's all about our own self-improvement. Hi, I'm trying to read the chat, and I'm going to read the chat's coming up vertically, so I'm going to have to. Well, belief again. Hi again. All right, Robert Green. Can you tell me if, when I'm in landscape like this, is it coming out in landscape, or does it look like I'm on the equator of the globe? I've been trying to find all sorts of ways to film in landscape. It's very difficult to know whether that's actually happening. No, it's coming out. Oh, it's coming out vertical. So do I have to hold it vertically like this? Oh dear, that's such a shame. Yeah. I'm trying to get it sorted. Anyway, the elephants will come down soon. We'll see the elephants bathing in the water soon. So hang around for that while we just have a festive chat about everything that's going on. Okay, that's right now. Thank you, Alwyn. Hi, good afternoon. I hope if you're in the UK or Europe or the US, it's not too cold for you. It's almost too hot here. It's pretty mad. So, and we've got nice clear skies today. No chemtrailing here. Good morning, Alexander. Blood is thick in the water. Hi. Thanks for coming along. Flat Earth Data. Good day. All right. So yeah, just chilling at the lake here in the Elephant Sanctuary in Phuket. And as I said, the elephants will be coming down soon. So it'd be nice to just chat while we watch this. Yeah, it's very nice, very calm here. And of course, I find it quite frustrating to deal with deniers of creative intelligence. I think ultimately it's obvious. It doesn't matter about your beliefs. It's sorry, what's that suggest? Suggest some flat Earth books. Yeah. Flat Earth books. Well, all science, all physics points towards us being on a level stationary Earth, doesn't it? So I've got a question here from Octavix. Hey, how much do you need to live nicely in Thailand, Phuket, or maybe Bangkok? Phuket's slightly more expensive than Bangkok. Food's pretty cheap in Bangkok. It depends. I mean, things get as expensive as they do back in the UK, especially if you're, living in air conditioning and things like that. So food is relatively cheap. But let's say, for example, I don't know, what's the average pension that someone might be pulling a month? I mean, I suppose you could live on about £500 a month, but you're still going to be restricted in a lot of things you can do. And there are a lot of, it's, the problem I still face, even though I'm married with kids for 20 plus years, is that every 3 months I have to renew my visa, which costs me money. I would love to just do everything I could to just lead a stable life and get full-time, employment. But the thing is, here you have to be a wide boy. You have to kind of have your finger in many pies, and that's the only way I've found that I can really survive well here and bring up my kids is to be constantly looking for opportunities and work in various forms. So it's taken many years to build up a kind of a reputation as someone reliable for various jobs, and obviously being able to speak the language helps. But yeah, I mean, if you had £500 to £1,000 a month, then as long as you're not pissing it up against the wall, then you'd be all right, I expect. A couple of £100 for rent. Does that help answer your question, Octavix? Anyway, yeah, I can hear the elephants coming. Some lovely footage just now of the elephants meeting up, the three of them. They're very attached to each other, and they squeal with delight when they see each other. Yeah, so. I'll make their way down into the water in a minute. Okay, oh great, okay, glad it helped, Dr. Vix, yeah. Happy to answer any questions about that. But as I said, after a long time here, I am seriously thinking about going back to the UK just to get some kind of stability, because, or, to continue building a legacy. But, we'll see. We'll see, yeah. Hey. Yeah. So, yeah, creative intelligence, intelligent design. I mean, this is one of these things that's obvious. You've got the fish down here, you've got the water. We don't even know where the water comes from. We don't know where any of this comes from. But, if you consider that the entire Earth is something that has possibly grown, you look at how all these trees and everything will eventually become part of the Earth, and they will then grow up again from the Earth. So it just makes total sense that we're on something that's growing and living and breathing. It's funny when people say, explain tides. Well, we've got a breathing Earth, or even a breathing, a breathing system that we live in. And there's no need to come up with alternative explanations if we don't know. But this is the important thing, isn't it? To know what we do and don't know, and we know very little. We believe a lot. So I think this is a journey that all of us should be attempting to make, is to come to terms with this reality and realize. Yeah, someone says install rotation control to make. Yeah, I've actually tried that, and I was playing around with those settings before I did this, and I actually had it set up on landscape, and it's just telling me to go back and rotate the device. So I've tried numerous ways to even force it to do everything in landscape, but I shall endeavour, and we'll see what comes up. So excuse the portrait pics at the moment. But this is it, isn't it? It goes. It's so. Octavin is asking me, have I ever met Eric Debate, also in Thailand, but in Bangkok? No, I haven't. We've chatted a few times on a couple of hangouts. One of Dale's hangouts, we chatted. But he's doing his thing, and fair shout to him, because this is it. You see, a lot of truth seekers are out there doing their own thing. They have taken a journey that departs from the mainstream, and you may have some really tough times. Life is a challenge. but these are the things that teach us along the way. I mean, if you just think about the journey that we're all having, everyone's having a unique experience, a unique journey. Check out this kid. That's one of the Mahout's kids, just chilling in the water. Are you going in the water today, Karen?
Huh?
You going to go in the water? Yeah. Okay. Where was I? Yeah, I mean it's just obvious that everything is partaking in this symbiotic relationship, and we don't necessarily know the how, why, what, when, wherefore, but we're on a journey, and it's just like anything else, isn't it? For example, you wanted to go on an excursion to get somewhere. Let's say you get on a ship and your mission is to go and explore new lands. Brian says many claim that atmosphere next to a vacuum is possible. What do you think? Well, it really depends on your definition of the terms for a vacuum. I mean, okay, there's a pressure gradient. To what point? I was just looking at an elephant's footprint that was filled with water just now in the mud, and in that water was life, were some fish and things like that. So, we could be just like a pond on an infinite Earth, that's an imprint of a giant elephant. Who knows? I'm just, it's metaphorically speaking. This is it. We've been given these apparent answers to where we are in this Earth's place in space. And of course, space, the idea of a vacuum, is simply an extension of the experiments done, for example, by Galileo with his marble. And of course, there's a limit to what the experiments you can do on Earth with friction and what have you. But you can mathematically predict that something given no resistance will just move forever. So of course, the idea that space is a vacuum is one of those assumptions that goes with the model. So again, why should we assume what's up there? We can't. I mean, it gets less dense as far as the air goes, but what's above that? Who knows? And either way, these people that claim to know can't do anything to create a similar environment unless we create some kind of vivarium or something, and have a walled container. And it doesn't really matter whether there's more air on top or not. Whale oil beef says, hoped celestial observations cannot be explained mathematically, not our reality. Yeah. So, this is it. It's very important to, of course, I think we've probably all been through it, where we deconstructed and reverse engineered the heliocentric model and all the explanations, and then we made these comparisons and we thought about what we can or cannot demonstrate in our physical reality. So, you can see the Mahout here and so here is, it's no hooks are used with the elephants. So this is they are just, the whole thing is you have to make friends with the elephants, and then everything's cool. Yeah, they love it. They love being in the water. Yeah. So they just go with voice commands, Ooh! Yeah. They love it. The other two will join in a minute. Yeah. This is it, Yeah, they are beautiful. Yeah. So they're not forced to do anything here. They're not forced to do any tricks or anything like that. They're just allowed to be elephants, and that's the whole buzz. And this is it. This is, when it comes to talking about Yeah, you're going in? Go ahead. Yeah. You just look. Everything is interdependent on everything else, and a lot of the time we can't perceive or imagine it or realize that until we've really studied it. So there's another one going in now. So who are we? Who are we to judge? Judge the way things are supposed to be. And I think that's one of the largest problems with detaching from this low birth belief. There's one over there having a snack before going in the water. Doesn't want to go in the water, so it's going to be encouraged to go in. Yeah. So my son's going to go in a minute. I can't go in with the camera, but there he is. Yeah, leave your shoes at the side, Kieran. Yeah. Wobbly Boost asks, which elephant refuge is this? This is the Phuket Elephant Nursery, and the website is phuketelephantHome.org. All right. So this is there are several sanctuaries in Phuket, but this is the largest one, and it's the only one where you really do get to interact with the elephants in the natural environment and see them being elephants. That's their job. Their job is just to be elephants. Yeah, Phuket Elephant Home, yes, phuketelephantHome.org. Just look it up, just Google it, you'll find it. So, there's the other one going in now. Yeah. Wandering in. They do move amazingly fast, actually. Just now I was up in the forest and they all came. They were all excited. So there's the Mahawk behind him. Behind her, sorry. These are all females. Yeah, so I don't know if the customers are going in. They're welcome to. Just see. We have a small family visiting at the moment. I'm not sure whether they'll go in or not. But it's definitely part of the experience, Do I believe in evolution? Alwyn says. Well, I discussed this the other day, and I think, of course, we don't know for sure, but evolution and adaptation can certainly be a thing. But either way, what we have is, again, this undeniable fact of this life that we see at this present stage is intelligent creation or intelligent adaptation. It's not all just an accident. I mean, this place is obviously designed and created, however, by whoever, by whatever, for experiences. Oh yeah, I saw a video of them doing the right thing by force. Yeah, they don't do that here, no. I mean, of course, a lot of these elephants have been, unfortunately, young elephants, you could call these domesticated elephants to an extent, because they have been reared since they were young. In Thailand there are wild elephants that live in the national parks, and then there are hundreds of domesticated elephants, and likewise in neighbouring countries. One of these is from Burma, the one on the left originally, and the kind of the conventional or traditional way of raising them is there is a stage where they do have to. What's the word? I suppose they have to know who's in charge, really. Obviously, there are also laws that, because obviously, if elephants are just left to their own devices, then they could wreck the place. But this is it here. No hooks, no chains. But the thing is, they would have been through that when they were young. We can't do anything about that unless, of course, someone has an elephant. An elephant is born here. But yeah, these elephants will have gone through some traumatic times, and they would have been in harsh conditions. What's that? Wobbly Boost says, bordering the Khao Patao National Park, the Phuket Elephant Sanctuary offers a new home for overtired elephants who have suffered from working long hours and longing and tourism. Yes, and to be honest, that's exactly what's happening here. I mean, yes, these elephants might well have been in the logging or the tourism industry. So of course, this is a double thing we're trying to do here: is promote ethical tourism and give these elephants some peace, respect. I mean, you can see that one over there just relaxing. She just loves it. She just rolls over and lies down to get scrubbed. Yeah. So Alwyn and ruins the moment. Yeah. Well, as I said, I mean, it's it's pointless to argue about that. It's funny, these dichotomies that are created by these people who wish to hold on to a belief, whether it's Dawkins or whoever, pushing their agenda and telling you there's this and that and the other proof because of some kind of connection they've made to, some imaginary scenario in which a rabbit might have changed or evolved over centuries or millennia. Well, we can't know that. We can, but what we can know for sure is that every creature has a purpose. And I think probably the biggest problem that we have as people or humans is trying to work out our purpose, or perhaps worrying too much about our purpose. These elephants are probably just not worrying about that. They're just chilling with the moment. Yeah. So this is, I think, what we have to realize and surrender to. Of course, it would be great to have some definite answers about what this place is, why we're here, how did we get here, and all that stuff. Of course, these are burning questions we'd all love to have answers to. But then when we look around and for example, we look at this, the eclipse, for example, the eclipses, the way everything works, the big clock in the sky, it just becomes obvious that this is a place that is it's an incubator for life, and there is surely a purpose for that, but it doesn't matter if we don't know that purpose. Maybe it's just here for that journey, for that creative expression. Yeah, and people, animals come together for a reason. So you just think about how these elephants contribute to this environment, and how all the symbiotic relationships from their dung, from whatever, the whole thing, even just walking into the lake and stirring the mud up, the fish will suddenly get some more food from everything that's been dug up from the bottom. This constant flux, these life events are unfolding all the time, and that's possibly all the purpose is supposed to be. So that's the main thing we're all hung up on, isn't it? Because we would appear to be given these answers by scientists and mathematicians, and all they have is theories and assumptions. Yeah, Alwyn says evolution assumptions are in our education or system, and we can't do anything about it. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, it is a blessing to be here. But, this is it, isn't it? I mean, you think about, as individuals, what we all go through to get to certain places, the journey, and that's fine. I suppose this is what if anything, if we want to just kind of talk about the meaning of life, then that's about it, really, isn't it? It's taking that journey. We might have a destination that is mapped out or isn't mapped out. It's just like maybe getting in a car or going on a journey. You know, we have a destination to go to, but while we're on the way, we're going to have so many experiences, and it's going to be a rough journey. And of course, if you get out there to explore and you want to get to some final destination, and you have some kind of personal mission, then you are going to experience hardship on the way. Hi, Rune. You are going to experience. You're going to meet people. You're going to exchange energies. You're going to make decisions, and so I wouldn't say that our lives are completely mapped out. We'll make decisions along the way, and we can have these realizations and learn and grow and everything from those experiences on the way, while we take that journey. Yeah. So being in this body is maybe like being in a car. It looks after itself, and as long as the body is functioning, then we, you know, just like the car, it will take us along this journey. And you know, for the most part, we don't necessarily have to worry about how the engine works or who built it. We just enjoy the ride. Yeah. So Alvin, Anton says, Alvin, I feel you ridiculing the theory is the only way, grouping up the smaller minded. Yes, of course. Well, you know, this is it. I mean, I would love not to, you know, have these arguments and these, you know, but the thing is, people come with an agenda. They haven't looked into it. They haven't taken the time to think about things, and so they approach the whole topic with a lot of naivety. And you know, I don't lose too much sleep over that anymore. I don't bother worrying about whether someone gets it or not, because them not getting it at some point and reacting in a certain way is part of their journey. We've all been through it. We've all reacted to certain situations in certain ways, and of course the way we react will determine what happens next, and those counter reactions. So it's all part of the experience, and unfortunately it's going to be a constant thing where individuals will be new to this and will have their own ideas and experiences. Wobbly Boo says, don't restrict yourself to similar-minded people. You will never know the holes in modern science still have many have something to teach you. Hi, Gianni Flash. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, people, you'll often hear the comment that it's logical that the Earth is a spinning globe because of the logic that has been assumed for the heliocentric model, that everything we see in the sky is a planet, and we are one of those planets. And it is amazing how difficult it is for people to get away from that, to that attachment. And it is a challenge, just like any other challenge. If you're seeking truth, if you're seeking, well, ultimately this is it, isn't it? You know, the truth. If we're seeking truth, you end up realizing that we don't know and we can't know. And so it leaves us with some very limited conclusions that we can make about this life, and then comes that kind of acceptance. Rising up, yeah. So you know, there are certain things that all of us will experience, I think, on our life journey, and I suppose it's just up to us to learn from it. You know, and we can adapt and learn learn from the actions and reactions that we experience. So I hope you just, I don't have too much to say. It's just nice. I hope you're enjoying this, just to see these elephants enjoying being elephants. Okay, wobbly boost. All right, thanks, man. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, personally, I'm torn at the moment, just between returning to the UK and trying to stay here. Yeah. Hi, Jenna Worms. Nathan Oakley, hey, nice one. Thanks for coming along. And I think, Nathan, you reminded me of something. I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? We've all got our own unique experiences, and we've got our own way of putting things across and trying to explain. This is it. I think all of us. Well, you look at the difference between a lot of the flat Earth channels and the anti-flat Earth channels. You see, the anti-flat Earth channels out to be YouTubers, and they use the flat Earth topic because it's a hot topic, and of course they can feel fairly comfortable that they'll get some numbers for their channel because, well, they're still in the majority of English-speaking YouTube users, so they will get the support there for a hot topic of debate, let's say. So, in that sense, we have all these anti-flat earthers. Simply, their only aim is to be YouTubers and to get the numbers and to get their diamond play badges or whatever it is, Whereas a lot of us who are trying to explain flat Earth, or trying to, what some might perceive as being nasty and debunking the globe. All we're trying to do is we're using YouTube as a medium to share. And it's just because we want everyone else to experience what we've experienced, and we've been through tough times to get to this point. That's what I mean about taking that adventure. If you don't take those steps and go on the adventure to try and reach a certain destination, even if you don't know what that destination is, but you're basically seeking truth along the way, then the ultimate truth comes through about how much we've spent our lives believing in things and how little we actually know. And so, of course, we get so used to being handed the answers to things, and it gives us some reassurance as we feel lost in this world. But of course, it is those of us who have gone out and tested ourselves, tested our limits, and tried to find out more about ourselves and other people. I think, ultimately it's self-exploration, isn't it? That's what we're all trying to do. And when we do that, and whether we find time with ourselves or with other people or in some certain crazy situation, then this is what shapes us, isn't it? This is what gives us that more rounded outlook on life. It's so look out for that. Look out for the difference between those channels that are the anti-flat Earth channels that are just trying to be YouTubers. And I said we've each got our own way of interacting with other people and putting this message across. We just want the truth. Absolutely, SpaceX says. Yeah, we just want the truth. But the truth is we are clueless. But that's okay. You can rest easy with that too, and go with it. But yeah, I think whether you're one of those people that's out on the streets, you're doing your own form of activism, or you're demonstrating your own way of seeing things. This is all good because it all reaches different people in different ways. We're all different, we're all unique, and there is no standard way of doing this that fits all. And again, this is the problem we are dealing with, this standardization, where everything, our entire lives have been standardized. But then you get yourself into a situation like this. So there's nothing standard about bathing with an elephant. If the elephant wants to get out, you got to go with it. You can't force the elephant to obey your schedule. Anton says, but I think more of expanding from a living electric field and then different magnetic mass stuff is happening inside, creating atmosphere animals. Yeah, I mean, of course, there is again, what can we really know? I mean, it's obvious that, electromagnetism and energy is in this constant flux here. I mean, it is all about energy and the transference of energy, and that you can take that right down to a kind of a spiritual level. We all have feelings which are energetic, and sure, this is a place of vast energetic resources, and we are part of that energy. And it can't stagnate. I mean, you just imagine if this lake stagnated, then it becomes dead. So we have to have movement, we have to have change, we have to have flow. There has to be change. To stagnate is to die. Yeah. So Jonah Williams, it's in a way it is a machine, isn't it? But it's this wonderful biological machine. Unless you're talking about the kind of machine culture that we are kind of trying to get away from. These elephants are they consume. They are machines that consume the greenery, and then of course they poop it out. That becomes fertilizer. I mean, and it's funny, isn't it? Because we have nothing else to compare this to. People will argue about the sun and the moon and all that stuff, and what you can or can't see, and what they think it should or shouldn't be. But it's so funny because we're always trying to compare this imaginary scenario of the Earth spinning around in space with imaginary physics. There's no way of comparing it with reality. I'm just going to move because we've got some people here. All right. There you go, feeding the fish. Fish are getting fed. Yeah. Arwen says, understanding the cosmology was never the goal. They just created a mathematical model and fitted everything into it. That's why we have weird theories. Yes. It's just telling time, isn't it? That's all it is. Just telling time. Nothing more, nothing less. And of course, the very movement of time in a physical plane is that energetic movement. You have to have it. It has to exist. Yeah? And there is no such thing as nothing. It's a very difficult thing to get our heads around. But ultimately, there is always that yin yang. Yeah. Wilma says, fantastic animals. I can't eat them. Yeah. They are beautiful creatures. Yeah. Thanks, Joan. I'm glad you're appreciating it. And it's fascinating to get to know them. And it's just like anything. It's funny, you can equate that to anything, I just now, like I said, I was with Mahouts, one of the Mahouts, and by another lake just up there, and all of a sudden, one of them just came trundling along, trumpeting, wah, wah, and I thought, oh my God, we're gonna get rammed. But she was just calling to her friends, and then the two others joined, and they were just trumpeting away, making a huge racket, scraping the ground, and just being really kind of boisterous. And of course that kind of put me on edge a bit, but they were just being, now I know. I said to the Mahout over there, is on the right, I said, well, what's all this? He said, oh, they're happy. They're just happy. Said, because they were, one of them was growling away, that really deep growl, and I thought, oh, what's going on? But no, this is the thing, you can't judge anything unless you've taken the time to get to know it. And of course, our reactions to. Oh, see you. Okay, have a great trip. Yeah, okay. Some customers leaving now, so they've had a wonderful experience. Yeah. So. Beyond the imaginary curve. Hi, Del. We have screeching elephants here too. The elephant in the room. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah. I usually wear shell suits though. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, well, I am thinking of coming back to the UK for a bit. It's really playing on my mind, but of course I'm trying to tell myself at the same time that I shouldn't be preoccupied with this. Something's pulling me back there. It's, like I said, visa problems. It just gets increasingly difficult to stay here with any kind of certainty, and so I'm really thinking about going back home. But it's tough because I'm going to leave this behind, and then do I take the kids and all that? It's just like, how much do I impose my will on my kids and things like that? It's tough. It's tough to know what to do. But I suppose the whole thing is to just go with it and see what develops. But that is probably the hardest thing to do, is to actually go with it and see what comes about, and again, enjoy the journey, which it really seems to be all we're here to do, and learn from it. So I think it's great though to see so much more clarity going on, especially with your channel, Del, and many more, that are just repeating this very, very clear message. And it's not only about flat Earth, but it's about reaching that understanding and the realization of the mystery of who we are, where we are, and what we are, and continuing to explore. Hi, Flat Earth Warriors. Hi. All right, blood is thicker than water. Nice one. Okay. SpaceX says previously the powers that be used war to bring people together, and now it's fine. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, of course. Yeah. War is that thing that it's amazing to see how people can be rallied together. And those. But you see that in those who understand it, whether it's the coach of a football team or military personnel or whatever. I mean, there are people, individuals who understand how to rally people, what makes people tick. This is sometimes, it's just something that we kind of work out from an early age, maybe, especially with the psychopath or the sociopath. They see how people tick, and they see how they are different, and so it ends up them being able to dominate over those people that allow themselves to be dominated. But of course, we're not taught that, are we? We've got to find this out on our own. Richard Archer, hi. Yeah. So, yeah. As I said, I mean, I wish there wasn't fighting. I wish we didn't have to fight about it. I wish, when people leave comments and they ask questions, they're actually willing to listen to the answer. But often they're not. They're just there to try and catch you out, and it's just, you can see it coming a mile off. And again, this is something that you learn from experience, that if you approach something new that you don't know about and you're ignorant of or naive or new to with this kind of mightier than thou attitude, then the ignorance is obvious. and we've all done it. We've all been in that situation where we've said and done things that we thought we were, you know, better informed or whatever. But that, again, this is part of the experience. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's part of our process to get to a certain point. And fortunately, some of us, we're all doing this at a different pace as well, aren't we? I'm just going to move about here, just come down to the, I just want to change places. So, yeah, just try and get closer to the elephants. Oops, down here. There we go. I'll try not to drop the phone in the water. Yeah, but the customers didn't want to go in for some reason. Yeah, so they're just loving it. There's that one. She just lies down. Yeah. Yeah, that's great to see. So, you know, you know, it's funny because, I mean, can't help be jealous of the weather, Nick. Could you handle living? To be honest, Del, that is my biggest concern, and for my kids. But to be honest, I'm also prepared to put up with it in a way, because I'm looking to, like I said, you know, I don't know. I can't decide. I don't know. It's really tough because I know the weather makes a huge difference. It's funny, we were just sitting at the dining room table the other day and my wife just chucked this water, because the doors are open and everything is fine. She just chucked the remnants of a glass of water out there. And of course you can't do that in the UK. You can't just, you know, throw water out because you're in an enclosed place. So I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. And sure, there are times in my life, and I'm sure we've all been through it, where I'm going to come around so you get a really close view of these, where we do something because we think it's the best move to make and then end up kind of, you know, regretting it or whatever. So I don't know, but I feel, to be honest, going back to the UK will be as much of a challenge as it was coming here to readapt to the culture. I have no idea. I honestly don't know how, but again, I'm trying to do something for my kids. But what's best for them? To have a life here with dad coming and going and risking not being able to get his visas all the time, or yeah, belly of the beast. Owen says the comment section is full of trolls. Half of them don't even know the meaning of cosmology, but they're trying. Yeah. Well, you know, I've been looking. I tell you what, I've been looking at the sun and the moon recently, and of course, they do spirals. I bet it works beautifully. Here we go. Get some up close. Can I take one? Yeah. This is sugar cane. Oh. Hi. Hi there.
Right.
Alright.
You can keep to her.
So these are 3 females, and they're very big, as you can see. Yeah. Hello, ladies. How are you doing? All right.
Keep one by one on here.
Hi.
Here, slowly, no problem. On this one. Java Didi. Lady.
Boris Josh says the mentality here will do a head in. You might be right. You might be right, man, because, I mean, you know, I've got, for example, our neighbour the other day, you know, she let us borrow her motorbike. You know, she's like, yeah, borrow it for as long as you need it, you know, things like that. You know, people, I don't think that would happen much in the UK, you know.
Don't have to be
but like I said,
food with you,
you know,
no problem. Okay?
It's maybe something I've got to do. Yeah, these guys really love each other. They have worked together before, so they knew each other, but they came here at separate times. So yeah, one of them isn't so good with her trunk. This one, which one is it? This one doesn't really like You have to kind of feed her. She doesn't really like using her trunk. This one's fine though.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't have anything for you.
Thôi. Lên phải cái nhà hả? Thôi.
Yeah. All right. But it's funny, really, because ultimately, at the end of the day, these creatures are, you know,
Come.
you train them with food.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's how we build the relationship with them, with food. So these are treats for them. This sugar cane that's been cut. Yeah. So you don't have to use cruelty, but it's still ultimately they are being herded, shall we say? They are being, I suppose, tricked in a way. But there's an agreement there that okay, they get some food and they do this, so that a routine is set out for them. And yeah, SpaceX says we're trained via money. Yeah, of course, this is it, isn't it? It's all about the kind of fight or flight thing ultimately, isn't it? It's still that survival instinct. And even if you set an animal free, literally, it will often come back to where there's food. Yeah. So, all right. Just stepping back a bit. Yeah. We'll get out of the way. So I can.
Together with me here, don't have to scary. Keep here.
Yeah, my house there.
Slowly.
So these are the mahouts. They're always there by the elephants, just in case. Yeah. All right. But you can see this elephant's eye is about my head height. Yeah. So I think it's lovely to see their eyes. Yeah, as I was saying earlier, I mean, in some ways they have been domesticated to an extent. I mean, when they were younger, they, and wherever they were in the logging industry or tourism industry, then they would have been trained by fear. But isn't that the wonderful thing about animals is that, yeah, I mean, elephants will hold a grudge against someone that's mistreated them, but they can also discern the difference between nice people and nasty people. But you don't want to get close to an elephant when it's a male elephant when it's on must. They have to be chained up because they go up. They would, it would just grab this tree and rip it down, and throw it about. They are insane when they're in must. And of course, in order to avoid them getting shot or whatever, then they have to be chained up at that time. So it's just, there is this, but it's wonderful to see these mahouts working with them. They just go by voice commands. So as long as the mahout's there, the elephant's calm.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, see, really, this elephant's just looking for food. You see. That's what it's all about, yeah. Hi. Remember me now. Sorry I didn't bring any sugar cane today. I was going to bring some.
26 and 26.
She's moving on now.
No food, no brain. We elephant. More food, more brain.
Yay!
See, sometimes we feed them extra food like a sugar cane. Bring them up. That's why sometimes they excited human only when you have food.
Okay, Nicholas, thanks for coming by, man. Yeah. So there you go, all creatures great and small.
If you want to be baby elephant, you have to more food for them.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the main food for them. They like to eat things grass for fiber.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's lovely to see, isn't it?
Because here we like a sanctuary, not open park. You do only 2 times a day for party for them. When you come the right time to be here, if we bring them out.
So yeah, just to kind of round this off, I really appreciate you coming along, but it's ultimately, yeah, this whole, I mean, I do like explaining and having people get how to perceive a level stationary Earth as opposed to a globe, But ultimately, it goes far beyond that, and it's really very, very simple. The whole thing is very simple, isn't it? We are literally just trying to, or having to discern between what we know and what we believe. And if we can approach every single situation like that, then we'll all be in a good place. Yeah. So I'm gonna cut off the feed now. Love you and leave you. So have yourselves a great New Year. You know, don't get too caught up in the numbers. Just enjoy, you know, this is it. You know, it doesn't matter about what the actual festivity is supposed to be. The fact is that when people come together and they're happy and they communicate, that things happen from that. Things are spawned and born from interactions, and it's all part of the experience we're having here on this level stationary Earth, which is, it really is a magical experience, and it doesn't need us to be fixated on defining the, you know, the how, what, and what have you. The answers will come as long as we contemplate and just detach from holding on to beliefs. The answers come. It is that kind of, as the Buddhists say, it's that eightfold path. This eightfold path that the mind goes through is a natural, automatic process that naturally occurs. You know, we eventually gain knowledge of the experience we are having if we actually make the effort to contemplate it and be open-minded about it and so say meditate on it. As long as we are constantly realizing our attachments and how we react to our attachments, lots of fish down here, then we make progress, and we it's like a game. We get up to the next level. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, and we'll catch up again soon. Cheerio for now. Happy New Year to you all. Thanks a lot.